welcome back to the podcast. Fan guy's already dancing, nice and happy.
Disco dancing.
How's everybody doing?
Great. Yeah, ready for Halloween.
It's about here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this will air on the worst holiday. Election
What?
day.
What?
Are we so this air on election day. No.
Oh, it will? It should,
Yeah.
wow.
Anyway, let's start with the usual up and downs. Dazed, I will start with you this week. Who went up for you in this episode? Who went down?
Man, I've got multiple people listed for each, but I'll try to keep it to one. I actually really want to put Alex in this spot, which is weird, but I feel like with Ori gone and Patty coming back. Oh, I shouldn't explain it, should I?
Well, I mean, go ahead.
No, I'll just I'm gonna put Alex up, and I'm gonna put Carrie with a K / Hassan down.
Carrie drops again.
Oh,
Aspen.
okay. Yeah. I want to say honestly, this time I'm gonna put Dot and Alex both up. I think both of them went up this week. For their own separate reasons. But who went down for me was, probably Carrie with a K.
Mike.
Now, is this on chances to win or like pure entertainment value?
This is on just the last episode alone. It could be either, whatever you want.
Oh, I mean, this is a tough decision because, I'm actually going to put, I'm actually going to put Dee Dee up this time, and I'm going to put, I'm gonna put Meg down.
Vanga.
Most logical choices are to say Carrie with the C is down and Rayleigh is also down.
Who's up?
Did anybody go up?
I mean, a lot of people went up. I would say
After that episode, who went up the most for you?
the most up is probably Meg.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh,
Some differing opinions there.
right?
Before we get into the madness of the tribe swap, there was a couple of things that happened before all of that. We'll start with Rona and the reactions to Patty going to exile. Carrie feeling the heat that he could be returning to one of her team, which kind of happens in the end. Any thoughts on her reaction or anybody's reaction to Patty going to exile?
I thought it was weird that Q is so like on stuff. Like I don't know how, but like Q's like, oh yep, he gonna be coming back with an advantage. I'm like, nobody else in her whole tribe was thinking that. So that was good on her for like just being on stuff like that. I thought it was interesting. She said she would share it with Carrie with a K. I think that she being a little too forthcoming with her evidence when it comes to their little alliance. But yeah, I think Carrie with a K was like pretty much feeling like Patty was gonna come back and spank that ass like she deserved.
Yeah, I'll follow her up on that. Carrie actually kind of reminds me of myself in these games. Kind of just likes to start a bit of shit and just as negative as possible sometimes, which I like. But I feel like the whole Carrie versus Patty thing is maybe one-sided. I don't think Patty feels exactly the same way. But, and like Aspen said, Q is on point on these. I wrote that down. I feel like she's showing a great understanding of this game in her confessionals. one thing I do want to see her do is I want to see if she talks to Patty about him possibly getting an advantage in Exile. I'd like to see her follow through with that.
Microfan, got any thoughts on Rona before the tribe swap?
I mean, I'll say Patty's entertaining as hell. I'm in exile, all alone, can't talk to my team. You know, it's very Blair Witchy, which I dug a lot. And generally, I'll piggyback on what they said. The big takeaway is that is actually what I think both of them said is one that Carrie, for whatever reason, had it out to get Patty. And I think that she's assuming that he is reciprocating that or has to feel the same. And I don't think he does. I kind of agree with Days. I don't necessarily think he does yet. But if she keeps with that single-minded focus and it gets back to him, obviously, you know, I'm sure Patty will have something to say about it.
Yep. Try not to have a heart attack. I also agree with Dazed that that it seems like a one-sided feud, and I don't want to get too much. I'm assuming we're gonna get into Patty on Exile specifically in a minute, but like, yeah, Q seems on top of her shit. Like she's kind of, and I agree. It seems like a one-sided feud. Like Carrie's like thinking that everyone's out to get her, when you don't really see too much of that besides kind of one person, Dee Dee.
Speaking of Patty, he is in exile all by himself, feeling the heat with his essential oils, thinking about who he should send a message to. He ends up sending it to Carrie with a K. Was that the right choice? And why do you think he sent the link to Vogue?
I don't care if it was the right choice, but it was hilarious what he did. I thought the whole exchange was just great.
It was absolutely the wrong choice, but 100%. 100% agree with the essential oils. I was dying. I was laughing for like 5 minutes solid. Whenever I was like, because I know what them essential oils are infused with. I know what kind of essential oils you up to, Patty. And so, you know, a terrible decision to send it to his arch enemy. Like you get so few of these powers in these games that you really need to utilize them the best you can. And to kind of poke the bear is not the, you know, if you're going to try to make an ally out of Carrie, then cool. But I would think it would have been way better for him to send it to basically anybody else.
Anybody, literally anybody, you know, like, yeah, terrible choice. I don't think he thought it through, you know. I thought he just was like, you know what, I thought he just was trying to be funny. But yeah, honestly, it kind of fucked him over because he gave her an advantage. So
isolated on an island by yourself will mess up your mind, man.
Yeah, it'll make you do some crazy shit. Like, I get it, man. I get it.
But yeah, I was laughing really hard at that whole thing too. And like where it's like he gets the mimosas video back and he's like, I was offended. I'm like, what? And then he's like, because the video said 20 or 80%. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty funny. I don't think they know that they're sending advantages for what it's worth. It's just messages, and they just happen to have advantages attached, and he had no way of knowing that. So I don't fault him too much for just trying to extend a strange and funny olive branch to the person who was not his biggest fan.
Was it an olive branch?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, they're joking. They're just joking. Like, if you're joking around with someone, even if they're like, I think that's in a way an olive branch. Like, you don't take the feud seriously. If you're pissed at someone, you're not gonna send them a Madonna video as a little joke. Yeah, I don't know. People can take it differently.
So he does send Carrie an advantage, a banish advantage. Can this affect Patty anyway?
Yeah.
She not the type that's gonna be like, you know what, he sent me an advantage, let me look out for him. She don't really seem like the type, you know, like, I don't know. What
she'll use it against him if she can. I mean, they're gonna be on the same tribe again, and she's out to get him from what we've seen. So, I mean, what better way to get him than to be like, here's the power you gave me. Now the person who's going to save you is banished. They can't vote to save you, and now you're out.
Ooh.
She seems like the type that might do that too. So like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on Patty or Rona? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I definitely think this could actually end up screwing over Patty. Just because like if he tries to flip, or they get afraid he's gonna flip to like who is left, Rayleigh and Alex, then like Carrie could send one of those two out and then get out Patty with no worry of like going into a tie where anything can happen.
Right.
You know, so that could definitely hurt him.
We'll move on to the last moments of Done. I think the main takeaway from this is Alex and Elizabeth trying to poke at each other's Survivor knowledge. Aspen, any thoughts on that
Oh,
exchange?
you know I was all for it. I'm like, that's right, Alex. You better tell her. Oh no, it's so cool to watch people, like talk about their Survivor story, because I was somebody that didn't grow up watching Survivor, and then once I figured out what it was, I'm like all in it. So I watched every season back to back, and so yeah, it was cool for him to try to share that, but he probably is sharing it with the wrong one, because I do not give Elizabeth enough credit. She really is smart. She knows the game. She is strategic in her own little quirky little way. I don't know. She is catching on to stuff that I didn't think that she would. Like, she read real deep into that conversation with Alex. So I don't know. That's interesting.
I think it kind of deprived us of a Alex Elizabeth showdown within that team. With her being with the team swap, because they took two different things out of that conversation. Like Alex was like, oh man, she knows her Survivor stuff that makes her a huge threat, but Elizabeth wants to work with him, and that was before the tribe swap. So I think in the long run it benefited Elizabeth to get away from Alex, because he was going to come after her. So
I love what you just said, because it really highlights the concept of perception. Because perception really is reality. It's crazy how two people can perceive the exact same trait, being this knowledge of Survivor. One of them is perceiving it as an asset. I want to work with this person. The other person is perceiving it as a threat. This person's a threat. So I think it's pretty fascinating just to watch how both of them I couldn't agree more, how they took the exact same concept and perceived it in two completely different ways. Like, one of them's like, I really want to work with this person, and the other's like, this person's got to go. So I just think that's wild. I just think that how that works is wild.
Mike, any thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much pretty much all been covered. It was a good conversation. I think they're both smart, strong players, and it would have been exciting to see them go head to head, but I'm glad they're both still in the game and not necessarily going for each other. So
do you think she'll have the same thought process with Meg once she figures out Meg is a huge Survivor fan?
I think she's already there. You listen later in the episode,
The real question is, how does Meg perceive that? And because Meg's already said, I think she came out and said in one of the earliest episodes, she's a strong female, and I don't like that. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? So those two could easily be like this, and Elizabeth doesn't. Meg's got the whole mafia around her right now.
Meg Mafia.
Meg's Mafia.
Well, speaking of Meg's Mafia, before the cleaners advance there, talking about no new friends. Is this the right approach, or are they kind of alienating themselves?
I mean, there aren't really any friends in this game anyways.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's stupid. I thought it was funny that I don't know. I'm like, why would y'all not try to go make a different alliance? You know me, I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm about to make 1 million alliances. So like, I don't know. It was weird that they're like, no new friends. Fuck everybody else. It's our squad or nothing, And I don't think everybody gonna keep that same energy. Let's be real, they not.
I think you would have to be dumb to even believe that is an option for somebody. in the first place? Like, of course you got to make another alliance to make friends or whatever you want to call it. Got to
But
protect yourself.
Meg, Jake, and Hassan are the majority, so they could just not make new friends and just say fuck everybody else, though. Right?
They're
Yeah.
a plurality, not a majority. You know, they've only got 3 out of a 6-person tribe.
Well,
Right?
That's true.
With Exile especially, they can be screwed real quick. You know?
That's a
But
good
then
point.
again,
I think Meg and Jake were kind of banking on getting Dot in the swap
Yeah.
before it even happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it kind of go back to even the podcast we had about Big Brother and whether the theory itself had been figured out of the game? If you're in a situation where you have the numbers, of course it's good to make friends with other people, but do you really want to? Let's say you're in a situation where you're 3-2 ahead of the numbers. There's 5 people in your tribe, and you have a 3-2 advantage. Unless you somehow feel like one of those other 2 will pull you in as their number 1 and you're on like the bottom of the 3, there's really no advantage to go making an alliance that you trust less than the one you're already in. So I just think it kind of goes back to, is a lot of it figured out theory wise when it comes down to having the numbers. And I think that's, it's really important to have the numbers. So I don't think.
But do you think like people could get complacent with the numbers, which then causes cracks?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
see
think
that 100%.
I think where you stand on this argument within the game depends on how comfortable you are with the group dynamics. If you're not comfortable, you're going to go looking elsewhere. But obviously, like Meg and Jake, they're feeling pretty tight right now, so they don't have to. They can kind of bullshit everybody else. Say, "Oh no, we're all super tight. No need to go make other friends. Stay with us." So
the higher up the food chain you are, the more you want that group to stay together because you're at the top of the pyramid. They're all going to go before you. So it's really just another matter of perception. We're all part of the same group, but where do we perceive our role in this group as opposed to others? And where do they perceive, me?
Any last thoughts on the cleaners?
They were a strong team before this merge. They were primed to make a real sweepy looking thing before the merge.
I'm still expecting the t-shirts though. I'm still waiting to see the cleaner t-shirts come out.
Well, Rayleigh's in an island right now. Well, 2 different islands. We'll talk about the first team 1. We have Rayleigh, Ori, Alex, Carrie with the K, Dee, and Q. Any of your first thoughts on team 1, Dazed?
Oh, Rayleigh, man. She is just all by herself. But as Rona was before the team swap, this entire team is a mess. Like there's no glue. There's so many cracks. Compared to team 2, they've got a lot to work on. And I think if they end up in another tribal, like it could go so many different directions on who is voted out.
Any first thoughts, Banga?
I mean, I think that the Rona people on this tribe get along well enough. We've seen that Dee and Q get along really well, and we've seen that Q and Carrie with a K get along really well. So Q's kind of, I think, the glue that will bind Carrie with a K and Dee together, even though those 2 don't necessarily trust each other. I do think that Q will temporarily bind them together, and possibly even with Patty. The Patty Carrie dynamic's going to make a very, very interesting thing on this particular tribe because we know that Dee likes Patty, and that Dee and Carrie don't particularly like each other, and that now, Patty and Carrie probably don't particularly like each other. So there's a lot of gunpowder there, and I think that realistically, Alex and Ori are the 2 wild cards that could really mix this side up. I think those are the 2 wild cards for me on this side, the 2 done members. Can they find a fracture in the original core of Rona?
Aspen and Mike, any first thoughts on this team? And did Rayleigh do herself any favors with her snake talk?
No, she should have just shut up about the snake, dude. Like nobody wants to hear about fucking snakes. I'm sorry, but like nobody cares about having a fucking snake as a pet, especially that bitch you.
I
That
just want to say
bitch.
the animal talk was 80% of that chat, and that was like a 40-minute chat. So
40
Oh,
minutes.
I cracked up at your snark in the tribal. What was more important, or strategize more, or talk about animals more? I was like, oh, Jeff.
I know that's a real Jeff Probst
Oh,
move
Jeff.
right there. Yeah.
And now it takes on a whole different life knowing how long she went on because there wasn't enough time in the episode to show Rayleigh talking about her snake for 40 minutes.
It was really 40 minutes long.
the chat was, but the talk was probably about close to a half hour of it.
Wow.
All right,
Yeah.
snakes are cool. You know.
I will say though, oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I initially said that she's on a world by herself, but if Team 2 is smart, they just keep throwing Rayleigh onto exile and try to break up the rest of that team as much as possible, especially with the Rona crew being being the majority there.
Yeah. My first thought when I saw these tribes was, wow, Team 2 got all the good challenge people minus like Alex pretty much. And I'm not saying the people there are bad. It's just like you look at Meg and Jake, Hassan and Dot have all like kicked ass like time and time again. And it's kind of hard to like look at that and see anything besides like, ooh, this is really good for Team 2 minus Alex. And I just thought it was interesting from that aspect. And I
Yeah.
thought getting the 3 people and then the other 3 was like, oh, I'm like, ooh, are we gonna see rocks? And then I remembered Exile's thing. So yeah, it's almost like as the cleaners on the other tribe, you send Rayleigh, you keep her safe, but you don't let her build any actual chance of keeping herself safe naturally. If you send out one of the Ronas, then you got this whole like chance for the 3 to bond together against the other 3, or the 2 and the 1 to bond together against the other 3. So you look at it both ways, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I just think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this tribe because of all the interconnected things.
I forgot to say, it didn't make the episode, but how the teams were determined were they had the letters A through L, and they had to pick a letter. The cleaners picked it first since they won the challenge, and then Dunn picked a second since they were second. And then Rona was left with the final 4 letters to choose from. On to Team 2, Meg, Jake, Hassan, Elizabeth, Dot, Carrie. Anything to stand out to you, Mike?
Like I said, strong tribe. You have the 3 cleaners who have already somewhat been the 3 bonding, like at the most. It seems like I feel like you have the 3 at the top cleaners, which and then you have the Team Dunn members who it's Elizabeth and Dot, and I haven't seen like a ton of those 2 one-on-one making a lot of bond really. So it's interesting again. And Carrie with a C is in a tough spot.
That's true.
I think the totem pole is clear in this, but I disagree with how Mike kind of ordered it. I would actually swap Dot and Hassan. I think Dot moves into that power 3 with Jake and Meg, and Hassan's kind of left out there with him, Carrie, and Elizabeth. So
That's
we haven't
perfect.
seen that
Definitely,
yet, but I think that's going to happen.
I think he's definitely a tier above Elizabeth and Carrie with a C. Those 2, I agree, could possibly be interchanged. I don't know, but Carrie with a C and Elizabeth are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think God is in a good place. I think he came in a great place. I think he got the potential to go either way. He probably gonna end up being the swing vote for a lot of things too, I'm thinking. Um, so first impact, I was super excited that my two brothers got on the team together, and I thought it was funny that Dot even called it out. I'm like, look at Dot. But yeah, I was happy to see them. So I hope that they work together. I highly doubt it, but deep down inside of me, I want the two brothers to form an alliance, obviously. And then yeah, I like where Dot sits in this. Like y'all said, I think he is gonna be that third person. I think Hassan better watch his back. You know what I'm saying? Because Dot is coming for his spot, and well, y'all know how it go. It only could be one token, so I'm thinking it's gonna be Dot.
I got any thoughts on this?
I'm dying. Wow. No, it's true. I mean, this is.
It's true though, right?
This is a cleaner dominated tribe, right? It is. I mean, you got the cleaners, and they've already, all three of these actually, because if you remember, they've all kind of connected with Dot, right? So I mean, like, it just feels like the cleaners and Dot. Like, I know, like, Dazed and Mike were kind of saying that the who's third and who's fourth is kind of interchangeable, which will make for an interesting dynamic when it gets to that point, I think. But I do feel like those four kind of feel solidified. And I think that spells a lot of trouble for the other two. But luckily, as Mike said, they are on a tribe of really strong competitors. So, you got to lose before you go to tribal. You have to lose the challenge in order to go to tribal. So this team is definitely going to be a favorite in most challenges. Let's just call it what it is.
I don't see him taking no L's. I'm gonna just say it right now. I don't.
Well, I mean, in a challenge where maybe if they only put up two people, and then you have maybe Q and Alex from the other side against two of the people.
Well,
if it comes to something like that, the other side can compete. But if it's a full team challenge, team two, as Mike put it, has a staggering advantage.
what was it at the end of the episode that said the challenges were individual now?
The next game they know against each other, so they will have to vote someone out on the next challenge.
Does anyone go to exile?
Get more into that.
Okay, all right, we'll get.
Okay. Sorry, gotta think about the.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts about exile, but I figured that subject would come up here in a minute, so I've been waiting.
First, we'll talk about the challenge. Any highlights from the challenge besides Dot possibly doing worse than Nisha?
Meg's Mafia with the Godfather. Meg's Mafia with the Godfather.
Oh my fucking
She
god!
just keeps pointing to. I feel just keeps pointing to the one place. Like, look.
Yeah. It wasn't making sense, And Nick, why I'm so frustrated with this. You know exactly why. But it's she could have did so much better. So much better.
You can just draw a blank in these things. Sometimes it's just like you just draw a blank, and then when the answer comes out, you're like,
it feels
oh man, I just pulled Anisha. Like, how did I not get that?
I don't know how Dot guessed everything except that.
Yeah, that's he's
everything.
Every synonym for man.
Joseph of Mary.
Yeah.
Joseph.
Baby
man,
Jesus.
This is baby Jesus. This is Mary.
I'm gonna cut her some slack though, because in regular Pictionary, I would be drawing nonstop. But you got to draw it and then get it up to the cam, and it kind of takes away. Otherwise, never stop drawing. Draw it a new way.
I don't think that was Meg's fault. That was definitely Dot's fault, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The drawing was fine. You had the family unit, and then he got to God pretty quick, really quick, and then just couldn't get the other part of it. And I love Pictionary because it has moments like that. It's so funny to watch. And I feel really bad earlier on in the challenge for Rayleigh. I mean, she wasn't trying to use the numbers in a bad way, but the rules are the rules. I'm sure she had a brain fart. Sucks. Could have maybe, I think it at most would have given them one more round to try, but it
Yeah.
sucks.
Like I agree,
Um,
she wouldn't have wrote the numbers like 49 if she had gotten sports teams and it was the 49ers. She wouldn't have, she
Yeah.
wasn't trying to abuse the rules. You could tell.
But you gotta enforce them, you know. It is what it is.
I mean,
Yeah,
to be
honestly,
fair,
dude,
Q
man,
did that in the
but-
one before where she held up the 2-4 for was it Kobe?
Charades.
Or yeah.
Yeah, there was no rule in that one for numbers.
I know what
Any
I'm
other?
saying.
Any
Oh,
other?
Yeah, I gotta crap on Q for her ass. Like I ain't ever seen an ass that looks like that.
What the fuck was that, yo? What the fuck?
That was a crazy clue, man. I
That
kind
was
of
a
gotta
tough
agree with
one.
him on that one. I don't know what Dee was complaining about with the Nevada picture. It wasn't held up enough for
Didn't
her.
really make the edit well enough, but Carrie was not showing all the picture at first.
Oh.
To try
That's
and
her
hide.
choice, you know. There's no
Yeah.
rule that says you have to show it for both people. I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're
Camera's
both
the
seeing
camera.
the same thing on the screen,
Yeah,
aren't you?
I don't know. But
True, but she just wanted to
if
give
it's-
her team a little edge, y'all. Y'all know how that goes. She wanted
Yeah.
to let her team see it first and then put it down in case her team guessed it. Yeah. Oh, what I was gonna say about this drop it like it's hot thing was, why didn't she draw at least like Snoopy? I mean, I don't even know how to draw Snoopy.
Yeah, draw Snoopy.
Like I can't even fucking draw Snoopy. But
Yeah,
think
get
the
out
one
your pen
thing-
and paper, draw a Snoopy ass.
The one thing they needed to do was do a sounds like drawing. I think was the
Yeah.
one thing that would have helped maybe
Yeah.
drop it like it's hot.
it was
Yeah, for
tough.
sure. It was tough,
And
but Meg
it-
beasted. Meg killed that shit, yo. She is like a amateur artist
I see where you're going.
perfection, you know?
Yeah, the mountains were great. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
They got to that one real quick. And the Godfather drawing again. Great drawing.
In retrospect, it really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Pitch Perfect, fan guy. I heard it.
Yeah, you know that song. I was wondering if they could do sound effects, because if they could, you could just do the very beginning of it, you know.
No sound effects in that one. While Team 2 wins and 4 of them get to send someone to exile, I actually think there's a ton to analyze in this whole situation. I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll just start with Rayleigh being the one sent. Do you think that was the best decision for everybody in that group?
It was the best decision for Meg.
Oh,
Do you think Meg
it
was a little pushy with trying to get Rayleigh there?
Hell yeah.
I didn't see the whole chat, obviously, but it ain't. It's not like it. Never mind. I'm not gonna go there yet. I didn't feel she was too pushy with it.
You don't feel like she was being pushy by saying that, even bringing it up. She knew that that's what she wanted to happen. She's such a like quiet leader. It's funny because she
So
is
speak
telling
up.
her
If you
not.
don't want it to happen, speak up and say no. That's stupid.
I don't think it is
that.
stupid. I think Elizabeth not saying anything is actually smarter, in my opinion.
You do not want to get into an argument with someone over an exile decision if you can avoid it. And Meg was not going to back down, even though, if you come out here very strongly in support of something, even though you say, but I'll support everyone else's decisions, like, you're clearly angling for one thing. And I think she was pushy, but I think she was the right amount of pushy to get what she wanted. I think it was best for her and perhaps the other cleaners. And I think it was bad for Team Dunn. However, I would like to say I don't think Team Dunn sending a member of Team Dunn is the right decision, because you're probably dooming the other one. You have to send a member of Team Rona to exile to give your people a chance to get a vote them out. That's how I think they should have played that. But Dot wasn't. It didn't seem to occur to them. Dot didn't fight for it, and Elizabeth decided not to, that without Dot. It didn't seem like Dot was in her corner. I think so. She was like, "All right, I'm out of that."
I have a theory about Elizabeth. We'll get to that in a second. Fan got any? Or go ahead.
Would you say that if you want something done, you've got to have your voice in the pot first?
A lot of the time, yeah.
That's one concept to take away from it. Sure, speak up first because the bandwagon effect is super real.
Yeah, and I guess nobody else threw out any other name or option to be like, yeah, well, I guess let's go with them instead, like.
Elizabeth did throw out Ori, but I feel like what Elizabeth was doing is noticing May is the leader, and she wants her to be seen as the leader, and it's kind of happening. Do you think? I mean, Q's been saying it for episodes now. Dee Dee said it a few times, and now Elizabeth is saying it.
Yeah.
Why do you
and
think that is?
I think that gets into an interesting dichotomy of why me and Mike had Meg going in opposite directions on our stock report this week. I'm viewing Meg's current stock, but I also see it as a very volatile stock. But currently, let's be real, what the big takeaway from who got sent to exile, for me, the big takeaway is Meg's on top of the pyramid. And Meg got what she wanted, and therefore you know, if you're Elizabeth, you don't want to cross Meg because Meg is clearly at the top and she has her minions with her. And so, I mean, that's what it showed me, was that Meg is clearly in charge. She got what she wanted, and the cleaners are attempting to stay cleaner strong. But I do like what Mike said. In a truly strategic move would have actually been to exile one of Rona and just hope that the other three would take advantage of that. But without any contact with them, it's tough to know that that's what they're going to do. So I feel like Meg did what was best for her game, which was keep someone that she knows on the other side that has her back safe. And that's really, it was a selfish decision for the cleaners. It was a cleaner, selfish decision, and a selfish decision for Meg, who wants as many people protecting her as possible. But a smart one for her.
So how should Elizabeth play this, saying her where she's, because there's not a lot she could do on this team right now without the numbers, or is there? Is there any way that she thinks Hassan could actually be on board, Mike?
I hope so, just for entertainment value. Flips are always exciting as a viewer, but oftentimes in the game, probably not the right decision for people. However, I think Elizabeth knows she's the leader, and Elizabeth is not going to attempt to grovel at her feet. I think she's going to make her stand, and she's either going to succeed or fail. And it's going to be like a Meg versus Elizabeth showdown, I think, if they go to tribal soon, depending on, well, they are going to tribals, like you said. And I don't know, is anyone getting exiled? Can you say that? Do you want to say that?
I'll say it later.
Okay, all right, you can say it later, but it's like, with the way exile goes, you take away Meg's Jake, suddenly it's a wide open game for Elizabeth to go for it. Or you take out Hassan. I mean, let's face it, on the other tribe, really briefly talk about Q again pegging Meg as the leader and wanting to take a shot at Meg. She says, if you're taking a shot at Meg, you take away someone from her tribe to send him out to exile, if that's an option.
I would say Elizabeth's best player right now is actually to put the attention on Carry with a C and prolong the game as long as she can so she can get some allies built up, because she's not going to be able to create these instant bonds that are going to overtake the cleaner bond even with Dot. So I think Elizabeth's smartest move is going to be to put all the attention she can to get Carry with a C out and prolong the game till maybe a merge overall happens, because she is on a team that could potentially, over the next 4 challenges, win 3 out of 4. And if that happens, then only one person from that team is gone, going into the merge. And she needs to make sure it's Carry with a C and not her, based on the hierarchy of that tribe right now.
Yeah, I think you have to start dropping seeds after challenges that Carry with a C wasn't as great as a competitor in it, since right now they're competing as teams somewhat. So you need the strongest people on there to survive to the final merge. So yeah, like Fan Guy said, get as much heat off of yourself and put it on Carry, because Hassan is still kind of tight with the rest of the cleaners. So, but I initially thought that the tribe swap kind of benefits Elizabeth, because nobody's really seen her, so she does get a chance to build kind of a relationship, and that's something that she's going to be able to do a lot better than Carry with a C, I think.
Aspen, any thoughts on Elizabeth?
Yeah, like I said, she's super smart. She's super strategic, and so I think she will somehow get her trying to flip. If she can stir up enough drama and create enough shit, she might be able to make everybody see Meg for the survivor god that she is. I mean, let's be honest. Like the survivor gods are raining down on Meg right now. She even said it herself. She knows. She knows it. It's like she praying to him every night for I don't know, but it's working, you know? And so it's like, man, it's sad to say it, but I really don't see no stopping that freight train as far as being on that team. Maybe when the merge come, but on that team, no, she gonna dominate that shit.
Elizabeth has to bank on two things. One, that well, if Team Two does lose, that's kind of number one. But they have to bank that the other team strategizes well enough to put Jake into exile,
And
so
why
that
would they
she
do
can
that?
kind
Who
of get the
would do that?
numbers.
I don't
But
see no-
under that theory, wouldn't you say it would be better to put Meg in exile? Because then she doesn't have contact with anybody and her minions
Well,
can't
if you're
organize, the proper plan possibly to protect
if you want
themselves.
to take a shot at Meg, she can't be in exile, right?
Yeah,
Ooh.
and they're
I'm
all
saying-
afraid of advantages coming.
But isn't a good way to take a shot at Meg to eliminate one of her closest people first, rather than taking the direct shot if you don't know you have it for sure?
I mean, if you send Meg to exile, you don't get to take the shot, and you risk her coming back with an advantage.
Oof.
Yeah.
So you have to weigh it. I mean,
The advantage is the huge X factor there. I think anybody, if it comes out that everyone who goes to exile gets an advantage or has the potential to send an advantage or get an advantage, it makes going to exile a much more, people are going to want to go to exile rather than.
But so wait, has Patty gotten an advantage just for being on exile? No.
He sent one to Carrie though.
He got a
because-
clue and he got it to send a message.
Oh, he got a clue. Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
could have tipped anyone he wanted off about the zero, right? Because he knew about the zero. And that was what the message
chose
would have
not
been
to.
intended for on a strategic level. You tell the
Oh.
person you're allied with, hey, there's a zero that's going to pop up. When it does, email Nick, and you're going to win something. That's how you should use that message.
So
He did it
speaking
way
of-
funnier.
Oh,
speaking of,
agreed.
how did
100%. I agree, Mike. 100%.
how did Q and I think it was one other person that emailed to zero? How did they know to do that? They just it
They
just
Was
was-
it-
they just have to send an email with a zero in their email.
They're
Well,
probably
Q
like, what the fuck's
asked,
up with
but-
the zero?
Yeah,
And
basically.
then, yeah.
Was the second person Alex? I think he said that in the live viewing. But he
I meant to go
wasn't
back
sure.
and check. I don't think it was. I want to say it might have been Rayleigh or Carrie with a K.
Oh, okay.
I can't. I'm.
I was curious too as to who the second person
Yeah.
was. I wanted to know who else was going to, take that initiative.
Yeah. But it makes sense that it was Q though, right?
I mean, she's on it.
Yeah.
The last part about this. Oh, what were we gonna say, Aspen?
I just was wondering, did she already watch Survivor? Does she know how this works, or is she just coming in just straight up
Ooh,
Q?
She
no, she watches Survivor. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay.
The last thing that happened with this was Elizabeth and Dot kind of wanting Alex out, especially Dot at the end. He's wants this motherfucker out. And last week you thought they were going to be a duo, but now not looking so hot. Thoughts on that?
Perception, and now his position has changed, so his perception has changed. Now, because Alex is on the other team, he's now a threat. Whenever he was on the team with him, okay, this is an ally. I need this guy to win.
He's
Now,
the Wonder Kid.
perception and positioning. I mean, it's it.
he's doing a great job with painting Alex as a big target, as a threat. He's doing a
Right?
great job with it.
I just feel like it came out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. He just was so gung ho for Alex, team Alex. He coming in to save the day. He saved that team. They pretty much wouldn't be here without him. So I mean, I think it's shots. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like it a little bit. I like to see Dot, call that motherfucker out. But
Days, do you think it's intentional?
Yeah, when I was watching it, like that was the first thing out of his mouth. Yo, like Alex is, he's the wonder kid. He's doing great. I think it is intentional. I think he's trying to paint him as a target.
Do you think
so
it was
that
intentional back when they did the challenge and he was hyping him up like that?
yeah,
I'm wondering if Dot's like going that deep with it,
yeah.
or if
Maybe.
he's just trying to hype
I don't
up
know
his
if it was
teammate.
though. I feel like he likes to hype people up.
He the hype man. Not you, Ori. Dot is the real hype man.
Mike, any thoughts on Dot and Elizabeth? Now seeing Alex as a threat, kind of.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it's like big, strong competitors off on the other tribe now, but like, you're gonna think he might make the merge. You might want to choose your words you share with your new team carefully. Loose lips will sink your ship. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily wise or unwise because I have no idea how it's going to play out. It's just like, on a personal level, I would have loved to see a Dot Alex power couple just destroy things because they're both so personable and strong. So.
Well, this brings us to team one, who has to vote somebody out. So we'll start with. Well, Alex is looking for cracks, and Carrie with a K is just happy to give him, talking about how Patrick is after her and how throws out Dee Dee's name, and Q's already feeling like Dee Dee doesn't want to have an alliance with her, so then Dee Dee becomes a target. Any thoughts on this early talk before the vote?
they're giving him everything.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Carrie with a K, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up.
Is the order that we saw the conversations on the show the same order that the conversations happened? Because whenever somebody asked me in the chat to make my prediction on who was going to go, I based it on the fact, and I was right, but I based it on the fact of that being the order that the conversations happened in. And because I think that has a lot to do with this.
I think for this one, yeah, it was in this order.
Because the later, you got to realize when you have these conversations at the beginning of the day, and there's 6 or 7 conversations to happen after you, the ones that happen at the end of the day, a lot of times, it's like a tribal on Survivor. Like,
that's what
the
they
last word, the last thing that gets decided usually is what is implemented, even though 30 things are thrown around leading up to it. So
Patty's like, that ain't true.
Yeah.
That ain't true.
It just looked like at the beginning, everyone was kind of out for themselves in those early conversations. Like, let me get my information and figure out where everyone else's head's at. And it kind of did let you know that Dee Dee is on the bottom of the Rona Alliance, I believe. It showed me that. Ultimately, we saw Rona stuck strong. I mean, but they stuck strong. They weren't, they did show that they were going to hold to tribal lines. But it does show the hierarchy. It does show that if yours is the name that's getting thrown out, you ain't at the top of the food chain, because the person at the top of the food chain ain't letting their name get thrown out all willy-nilly and get 2 votes at a tribal. You're not going to do it if you have the power to keep that from happening ever. And so I do think it shows that Dee Dee's vulnerable.
I think Carrie gave him all the ammunition he needs to pull Patty and Dee Dee together to start getting numbers.
But could he voting for Dee Dee ruin that chance now because he just tried to vote her out? If somebody votes for you, you know how it feels.
Dude, he I would come back and say, look, they made me, they said your name. I just went with what they said. They told us to write you down. Like that.
Yeah. Y'all were talking about, who were y'all talking about going too hard? I think Alex is going to see what Q was saying to him about, where to write it. Whose name are you willing to write down? Saying that to somebody comes off to me kind of like a bully tactic, like you're trying to force my hand. When we get around to conversations, I would be bringing that up to Dee Dee and Patty, saying, hey, they kind of forced me to vote this way.
Yeah.
So that was something that stuck out in that conversation, at least with Alex and was it Alex, Q and Carrie with a K.
Hmm.
My question is, and Meg brought this up in chat, should Alex have told Didi then that they were throwing out her name?
Yeah, yeah. He probably that they probably would have. I don't know. Didi, she. It's hard to say. It's hard to read her because she be thinking stuff is the case and then it don't be the case and then she. I don't know. It's weird, but I thought that she could have maybe saved it. Alex could have if he would have been like, look, they trying to throw your name out there and just switch that shit up.
But it also makes him a huge target. Like if he knows
Yeah.
it's not on him, like if he knows in the back of his head it's either going to be Ori or Didi, why is he going to rock the boat? Like that's my theory. Like that's my personal take,
Yeah.
which is kind of a chicken shit way to play or whatever. But as long as it's not me, a lot of times it is what it is. And I feel like if Alex rocks the boat too much with that, he's just kind of painting a bigger target on himself. Like as soon as he gets the hint that it's not him and that it's going one of those two other ways,
Yeah.
fine.
Mike, you seem to disagree.
Well, when you are on the bottom, there are two things that I think are extremely important to do, and it is to preserve your allies, whoever they may be, however many you may have, by causing chaos, to cause chaos. So you say, this person threw your name out, whether it's true or not. In this case, it was true. And if it's true, then if the confrontation happens, the other person might fess up. And suddenly the target is not on your back. It's not on your allies' back. It's on these people who are throwing each other's names out in the top alliance. Because if the people at the top are trying to get you to vote the person on the bottom of their alliance out, in this case, they're trying to get them to vote Didi to keep themselves safe, then hell, freaking get Didi, like let her know, like they clearly don't value you. You know, you have to cause shit when you're in that position. If you're in a good position, you don't cause shit. You're in a bad position, cause shit. That's what I think.
But then you're betting on the fact that you can make a quicker rapport with that person. Even, I mean, you know what I mean? Like they might feel that being on third on that alliance is still better than taking a shot and crossing over to two people that they don't know. And as long as you're like, I don't feel like Didi's as much on the outs as it seems. Like she's clearly at the bottom, but she still was in enough to save herself there. I mean, clearly she was still in with Q and Carrie with a K enough to not get eliminated. You know,
Yeah.
they had that option.
And
And
I'll
more
talk
than
about
that, she called the shot of who got eliminated. Technically, she switched it from Alex to Ori. So
I'll talk about Didi in the wrap up part because I have her going up and I don't want to just go on all that now. But basically, yeah, I think Alex is, I mean, it's hard to say, you know, all of the dynamics. It's just like losing Ori, who Alex obviously trusted, and vice versa. It's not good for your game, and you have to fight it to every advantage you can get.
I think Alex was thinking more like Van Guy was saying, not wanting to make himself a bigger target, even though he actually was a target until Didi changed Q's mind. But
And it's how personal Didi's going to take that vote, right? Because it's how emotional she's going to take it. Because if they can still salvage something, then what Mike said absolutely is possible after this vote. Like, oh, wait, let's pull our ragtag group together now that we've seen the way this shakes out. But I think you got to wait for the perfect timing on that.
so Aspen, Didi's a little late, but she finally makes an official alliance with Q at the right time. Your thoughts on that?
girl, we've been trying to do this since day one. I just feel like, where are you? Like, oh my God, Didi just makes me so mad. I want her to just be on it. I want her to do good. I do. I want her and Q to work together, just like Dot and her son. I want my sisters to stick together. But Q is like, I mean, not Q, but Didi. She's out to lose. She like, well, I ain't gonna tell nobody I want our lines, but if they approach me, like, no, girl, you gotta throw that thing out there. You gotta be willing to like. She just think everything gonna fall in her lap. I don't know why she thinks she the god queen of this. I feel like she thinks she higher than what she is, kinda. I don't know. Is that just me?
I mean, it worked this time. She got that alliance at the right moment before she was voted out.
Right. I don't know. I just feel like she should have been known that Q wanted to work with her. For her just now knowing that, that's why Q tried to blindside her. Well, almost blindsided her, even though Q's like, oh my God, I had a change of heart. I'm like, that's weird. But yeah, that whole thing. Like, I thought the sisters were gonna stick together, but honestly, they need to break up. Nope.
I'm gonna stick with what I've been saying for the past couple episodes that Dee Dee just needs to sit back and not say a word because it's kind of working. Yes, she almost, went home, but somehow she makes it work. Maybe she's got some magic tricks or something I don't know about, but it worked in isolation. It's kind of working right now. I think the less she says, less she does, the better it works out for her.
Why do you think she wanted Ori out over Alex? Because of that 1 point? Fanga.
I think she views Alex as more of a, like, let's be real. I mean, everyone is still thinking further down the road than in the present. In the present, the safest thing you can do to save your own self is to win the challenge so you don't have to eliminate someone. So if you keep your strongest allies, I mean, the strongest people in your team, there is some merit to that. So I think for Dee Dee, it was as simple as she knows Alex is a very strong competitor and she wants to win challenges. I really do believe that that's what it came down to.
Mike, in the end, Q was able to convince Carrie, who was pretty dead set on voting out Dee Dee, to vote out Ori. Do you think that shows that Carrie is maybe not as messy of an ally, or is she still messy, Mike?
Wait, you think Carrie wanting to blindside Dee Dee makes her less messy? Come on.
I mean her changing her mind in the end to show loyalty.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that she's still messy because again, she's changing her mind. That's just the definition of like messy, and
Yes.
and Carrie is out here proclaiming Patrick is her enemy, and then she's trying to blindside Dee Dee just for maybe being close to Patrick. She's like, she's so messy, and she's just got this like laser focus on Patrick, and it's, I think, clouding her judgment perhaps a little bit, but she I just thought it was funny. It was good that she, I think, got her mind changed probably for her own game. Sometimes other people convince you to do better things than you want to do. Let's see how it plays out.
Fanga, any thoughts on this 3 people from Rona and how they're Rona hasn't had anybody voted out and yet they're a mess. So how is that working, Fanga?
I think, they stuck together. They showed that they're ultimately, when push came to shove, they stayed Rona strong. I think that in itself says a lot. I do think there's obviously a lot going on here, and Patty's only going to make the vinegar volcano all that more ready for that baking soda or whatever makes it, explode. There's tons of cracks here, like it's obvious, but they did stick together. And I think that keeping Alex does give them the best chance at the next challenge. So I think if they wanted a chance to beat that other really strong team, you arguably don't want to get rid of your strongest player.
But they didn't even see Ori play. So is it fair to be like, oh, she a weak player because she didn't play in the challenge?
You could just assume that by how good Alex did, it's not even a knock on Ori. You could just assume by watching how good he did, I would assume that he's just better than your average player. Period. Yeah. Like he's going to be in the upper echelon. And so I'd rather take someone that I know is a really strong player, even if the person I'm kicking out is the best player ever. You don't have a lot of time. And I think Alex just showed himself to be super strong.
Dave, did you want to say something?
Man, I'm torn. Like I wrote down that I feel like Carrie and Q should have tried to get Alex out instead of Ori. I feel like now that Patty's back and Dee Dee kind of wavering back and forth, I feel like it's going to come down to Rayleigh being like a swing vote. I can't fully explain it. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't think it was the right decision, and I have no evidence and no opinions to back that up whatsoever. So yeah.
Mike, any thoughts on Ori ultimately going over Dee Dee?
Just from way earlier in the episode, the moment Ori sees her swap tribe and she's just like
And
I
Dee Dee's
felt
like, welcome to Team Rona.
so, but yeah, and I just felt so bad for her in that moment, and I think her elimination was quite sad. She just happened to bond a little less with who ended up being the decision maker on this tribe, and sometimes that all it comes down to. And I do find interesting on her way out, hyping up Alex. It was a cute moment, but maybe
It
not what
helps
you
him or
want to
hurts
do.
him.
Oh, I think it
Okay.
hurts him. I think it hurts him to be like, you go get them all, kick all their asses, and like, you're so good, like, bye. Like, tell him you hate him, and like, he's a bad player, and no one should be afraid of him if you want to help him.
Right? Like, stop trying to call me out.
Yeah. But it was still a nice moment, and kind of sad to see her go. But I think it's preferable to have Alex still in the game if those were the two options. So
We told you she was gonna get left in the back, Mike. We told you.
she was not left in the back. Come on, I resent that. She did good, and I am excited now for Team Alex. You know, he's got a great underdog story now. He's got his friend leaving. He's in this really bad spot. His old tribe mates have just thrown him to the wolves, and I just see him rise up like a phoenix from the ashes. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Well, speaking of underdogs, Patty is also now coming back from exile. What does he have to do, Fan Guy?
He needs to get on the same page as Alex and Rayleigh real quick. Because he should know that at best he's fourth, with a 3 Rona ahead of him. On that tribe. So I think he's in the spot that I think Mike was referencing earlier that needs to get in there immediately and play hard. And I think he needs to immediately make allies of Rayleigh and Alex and hope that they're going to reciprocate that.
Any other thoughts on Patty's return? Go ahead, Aspen.
I think he will have a easier time doing it, if he just opens up and is not cold, I guess, in his sweatshirt. Like, I don't know, like he is a personable guy. So I feel like if he like puts himself out there, I feel like it'll be easy for people to connect with him. But I'm worried about him, honestly, man. I think if he gets wind of all the shit talking Carrie with a K has been doing, it might light a little fire up under that ass, though.
I think he's in a good spot. He was one of those that I was wavering on moving up. I'm gonna give one of my, horrible predictions. Patty, Alex, Dee Dee, and possibly Rayleigh team up to have the numbers advantage against Carrie and Q.
That actually ain't a bad prediction.
I think there's too much discourse between Carrie and Patty. Carrie's already said some, iffy things about Rayleigh, that she's not on this same planet or something like that. And then Dee Dee, I think she's looking for a reason to get away from Q and Carrie and work with Alex. So I think it's going to be a 4-person team. And yeah, let's see if they go to tribal again, which they will.
Last thoughts.
Huh. Yeah.
Rayleigh's in trouble on that side, I think. I still think Rayleigh's in the most trouble.
So wait, what did Carrie with a K mean by Rayleigh's not on the same planet? What was she referencing? Because
Snakes.
okay. I was super confused. I'm like, man, y'all Southerners, y'all be going at it about anything.
All right, we'll go to these ups and downs days. You had Alex up, even though he lost an ally. Why was that?
Kind of just what I explained with the 4 people. I think that tribe is just so disconnected from one another. He's already finding the cracks. I think he has the intelligence to build those connections, especially with Patty. I think he can work the magic with Dee Dee, and I think they can pull in Rayleigh. I think he's in a decent spot. He didn't go home and I think everybody thought he was going to be the first to go off of there if they got to take a shot. So I think he's in a good position. Bill, work your magic. I think he can do it. He's a smart kid.
Aspen, you had Alex and Dada. What do they both have to do to stay up?
Pretty much just keep going at each other, I guess. I want to see how this turns out. I think Alex, like Mike said, I'm rooting for him for the underdog story, purely off underdogness. Yeah, I really hope Alex can bring it home. I hope he can somehow make the odds work in his favor. And for Dot, I feel like he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's doing a pretty good job. I don't want him to like come in trying to make all these crazy shots like how he did with Nisha and stuff. I'm hoping that he lay a little bit low. But yeah, I think that they both got potential to keep going up in my book if they just, keep playing hard. I like Dot. He ready to flip the script. So I'm interested to see how he gonna do that.
Well, I have DD up this week. Looking at it, who got their way in the vote? DD. And she survived, but she knows she's got votes now. And that's a powerful knowledge to have. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how she works that. I think she had a good week. She actually finally sealed an alliance with Q. And again, she gets her way at the votes, despite being a potential target. She didn't know that, and she got her way, and that could really propel her forward. And I think it put her in a better spot than she was before, because I'm hoping she'll kind of hold that over Alex's head, like, I saved you and you voted me, and now you have to make amends by working with me. Like, who knows how she's gonna play it? But I mean, she's won before. She's clearly got something. She's doing something right. She gets her way. I'm not exactly sure how she gets her way, but she does it. So I got to give her props. I got to move her up. And for down, I've got Meg. Not necessarily because I think she did anything wrong. It's just that she's doing so well that like people are noticing on other tribes and on her tribe. And it's like sometimes you have to not play the game so extremely hard from day one. You need to kind of ease your way into it, and you got to take your foot off the gas pedal sometimes. And she has yet to do that, I think, to move herself up. She's got to take her foot off the gas pedal for a little bit and just not be so overbearing and get people like Elizabeth and Q not being your biggest fans. That's not a good position to be in.
Okay, you have Meg up. After all that, how can she stay up?
I mean, I agree with their assessment. It's true. Like, her threat level has gone up. She's now noticed as a target. But ultimately, I think just the way the swap happened, the numbers ended up on her side. Like, she literally ended up in the most secure position in the game currently. So I just don't think there's any safer or more up spot you can be than the safest position in the game currently. Like, her team, half of her team, like, they have her back. And so she's not in any danger until the two teams merge. So I do see the long-term danger for Meg, but temporarily her stock she's the strongest player on the strongest team. She's at the top of the pyramid on the highest team. And that's why I put Rayleigh at the bottom. She's at the bottom of the stack on the worst team. So, she's going to need the exile twist to be the same and the cleaners to keep saving her if she's going to stick around. Or they're going to have to pull a massive flip like these are just talking and flip on the other two, Q and Carrie with K.
You also had Carrie with a C down. She's outnumbered. What does she need to do to get up?
I think it's even worse for her than it is for Rayleigh. I think she's just on a complete island on that team. And as soon as they lose, I think she's done. Like done. Like, I think she's worse off than Elizabeth. I think Elizabeth's going to play a little harder to stay than Carrie with the C will.
Aspen and Days, you have Carrie with a K down again. How can she get back up? You guys keep putting her down. I mean, she has an advantage. What does she need to do?
Take that one, Aspen.
She need to use that damn advantage is what she need to do. Yeah, I mean, man, I keep wanting to give her something. I promise, Nick. I'm not just like putting her down because I don't like her. It's like I want her to do good. I do, but like she just is like shooting herself in the foot back to back. I thought it was weird that she was like super hell bent on voting Didi out when Q tried to change her mind. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I thought it was also interesting that Q persuaded her because here I am thinking that Carrie with a K is basically the ringleader, and now I'm kind of not getting that feeling. I'm feeling like Q might be the ringleader of that side. So, really, Carrie with a K need to make a boss ass move, to get my attention. Because right now I'm sleep on her. Basically, I'm sleep.
Is any other thoughts on Carrie with the K? You also had Hassan down. Any thoughts on why you need to get up?
Hassan's in a better place than her, I think. Hassan is just at the bottom of a totem pole, I think, and he has to, just be better than Elizabeth and Carrie at this point. But Carrie with a K, man, don't get me wrong. I love her. I love mess. I love excitement in these games. But she needs to like grab a broom from the cleaners or something and sweep herself up because she's just all over the place. And I don't know. I guess she just needs to. I don't know if there's any real strategy in her head right now, and I think she needs to either come up with one, or if she has several, pick one and stick with it and go forward. Because I don't know what she's doing. She's saying all kinds of shit to everyone, and it's a disaster. I'm here for it because it's a mess and I love it. But as far as going further in the game, man, she's losing altitude quick.
I think it's that paranoia gonna take her out. She too paranoid, like thinking it's something with Patty when it's not. Like,
I mean, I get that. I'm the most paranoid person I know, so.
She reminds me of you. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, nope, change my mind. Carry down.
Well, lastly, we'll do predictions. So this is how this round is going to work. Both teams will be playing the same challenge, but they will be playing as teams individually. So one person will individual immunity on each team. Each of those people will send somebody from the other team to exile. So there will only be 5 people going into the vote. We'll start with team 2 on if you think there's any predictions for team 2, or is Carrie with the C screwed at the bottom unless she gets sent to exile?
What's the game?
It's everyone's favorite helicopter. Aspen.
Oh.
Any predictions for team 2?
This is that game, right? The press the button, stupid helicopter.
Huh.
Well, I probably the most likely to win immunity is Meg. I just pure like historically. I mean, I don't know how many of these people are at Flash games, but it's like probably the most likely scenario. And I think she'd probably protect her person again if she were to win. I don't think that's a doubt that she'd just send Rayleigh right back to exile.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's interesting. Yeah. Why do you think Meg will win, though? You think she's going to be just dominating that game out of her team?
I mean, yeah, I think she's one of the better competitors. I mean, I think Jake could give it up a fight. Like I said, we haven't seen these people play Flash games before, so it's like it's a crapshoot as to who wins. I'm just gonna say like she's not going to try and throw it. She's gonna put her foot on the pedal and try her hardest. So that's just my prediction that she's gonna end up with it.
Yeah,
helicopter's tough, man.
Yeah, my winner. Now that you tell me what game it is, and I look back over who's on the team, I'm gonna go with Carrie winning the helicopter challenge. I think,
Says she needs it.
Yeah, I think that she, she's mentioned playing Mafia. She probably plays some orgs, stuff like that. I think she spends a lot of time on the computer, that analytical mind. So she's probably played this Flash game before and might have a strategy for it. I'm going to say she wins, and she's going to send. I don't care who she sends to exile. I just hope she wins.
Last but in fact, any predictions for Team 2 that you would like to make?
Helicopter's up in the air. I think on our season, was it Infinity or Rochelle who won that?
It was Infinity, I believe.
I think it was Infinity. My point with Helicopter is it's an unpredictable game. Like, it's not necessarily the challenge beasts that are going to beast out on Helicopter. So I'm not going to say that Meg won't win it. I'm just going to say that Helicopter is a very unpredictable game on who's going to win it and who isn't. I think it's truly one of the more dark throws of these games. So I'm going to pump the brakes on saying that I think Meg is going to dominate, because I do think she is a challenge beast, but I don't think that lends itself to a huge thing in this. Just looking at him, if I had to guess who's going to win, off the top of my head, I'm going to say it's Jake. Dude was a D1 athlete. He's probably got good hand-eye coordination.
No sense at all.
D1 athletes, they got good hand-eye coordination. That's what this
They're
game is.
competitive. You have to be competitive to play at that level,
Yeah, I mean, it's true. So I'm going to say Jake wins, and he saves Rayleigh again.
Aspen.
All right. Well, after everything that y'all have said, I think, dang, I like where each one of y'all's heads is, but I'm thinking that Days might be right, because Carrie with a C, no offense, Carrie with a C, but she seemed a little nerdy, and I'm nerdy. I'm a nerd. Trust me, I know. So nerd, recognize nerd. You feel me? Like, she seemed like, I mean, just how she had the emoji, how she had the green screen. Days might be right. She seemed like she is on computers a little bit more, so I could see that.
So with Hurry Save, who goes home?
I think she'll put probably Carrie with a K into exile, I think. And she'll probably, I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one.
Well, lastly, Team 1, I feel like there's so many things going on. We have Patty returning. We have Carrie, who's been after Patty. Patty go after Carrie. We have Q after Rayleigh. Rayleigh's going to be returning from exile. We have Dee upset that Alex voted for her in the preview. We have Alex, who maybe should be not a target because now he's alone, but now Dee might be pissed at him. So what do you think is going to happen with this team, if you have any predictions?
I'm gonna go with Fanguy here and combine something that isn't going to help whatsoever in this Helicopter game and say that Patty's going to win this because he's used to being in mountains. He's probably flown in an actual helicopter before. And that's going to make him 100 times better at this game. So Patty's going to win, and he's going to make the smart move, and he's going to put Meg or Jake on exile.
Your predictions, as always, as not always, as 90% of the time, are awful when it comes to Team 1. Patty, first of all, I'm on record, I'm on film. Patty's not winning this challenge. This challenge from Team 1 is going to be won by either Alex or Q. I would almost say, like, I would almost say it's like if I was setting the line on this one, unlike the other team, I would set it super strong leaning towards Alex or Q is going to win this challenge. Who wins and who they exile from the other side is actually the bigger tale, I think, than anything else. Because who gets exiled from the cleaner side, like if, for instance, if Carrie wins and then they save Elizabeth, oh, how interesting does that get? If Carrie happens to win, which I do think is possible, and Carrie's immune now, and now the other team, Alex, wins, and he's like, well, Dot's probably good, and I don't like Dot because they're enemies now or whatever. I'm going to save Elizabeth. Now Elizabeth and Carrie are safe, and it's the cleaners and Dot. then that comes to fruition right now. Has Dot taken over Hassan's place as number 3 on that chain? We could actually see that come to fruition as early as this week if the right mix of things happen in this challenge.
Will they get to chat about who goes to exile before they actually do it, or does the winner get to choose?
We'll get to chat, but the winner ultimately chooses.
I want to see somebody go rogue and go completely against their team.
Yeah,
Who
same.
would do it? Who would do it?
Patty would do it, but I don't think he's. Something tells me Patty's hand-eye coordination, unlike Jake's. I think he's more on my side of hand-eye coordination, which is a little bit more of the hippie side. We don't do so good with fast-moving objects.
I could
Maybe
see
he can
Q
take that
going
shot.
rogue.
Carry with a C. I could see Carry with a C. Like, who cares about? I don't care what you guys think. I'm immune. I'm sending Carry with a K. Bye. Like, yeah. I mean, I would say Meg could go rogue, as in ignore everyone who isn't a cleaner, and just any of the cleaners could go rogue, and they're all like, let's do something else. And like, no, we're just sending Rayleigh, and like piss off like Elizabeth and Carry with a C if a cleaner happens to win over there.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with a fan guy. Probably I could see Alex or Q winning. More than likely, I'm gonna just go ahead on and say the Wonder Boy gonna win. I think he gonna pull it out. I feel like I'm starting to see myself in him. You know, like he my little Obi-Wan, man. Like
Aspen 2.0.
Aspen
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah, I'm starting to see it now. You know, like I feel like his back against the wall. He gotta pull it out. So if he can get immunity on this, he might be able to shake some shit up how he want to. But I don't think he would save Dot. I think he probably would save Elizabeth. Just FYI.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, is if he wins, who does he save, right? Like
Yeah.
that to me is the interesting part. And if he saves Elizabeth and Carrie happens to win, that could be the most entertaining thing possible.
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
you think
why
he
would he
needs to
save
win
Dot?
or has to?
Oh, well, it depends
I mean,
if Rayleigh gets saved or not. If
could
Rayleigh
just
gets
throw
saved,
it.
he probably does have to win.
Does anybody throw this challenge?
I think like
No.
purposefully as a game move, no. I think someone could screw up and like not show up or something. That's a potential always. I don't think anyone gains anything from stepping out, unless a lot of people are already doing it for some reason, being like, I'm not trying the challenge at all. So.
Or if somebody plays it for 5 minutes and breaks their phone or their computer because they're just like, I hate this fucking game. Like, that could fall the challenge pretty
I
short.
feel like that was a possibility, actually. Any last predictions for Team 1? Or any last predictions overall? There's 4 advantages in the game right now. Any chance one gets used this week?
I hope so. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they all get used on the same night.
God, no.
Oh,
No,
that's
advantage
another
good.
wrench.
No.
That's another wrench, because let's say that crazy scenario we just talked about happens, and Elizabeth's now saved, Carrie's immune, and it's the cleaners and Dot. Well, Dot's got 2 advantages, and he might go, oh shit, even though I made a connection with these people, let me go ahead and play my immunity card, and then the person I vote out goes. That could also happen this week.
I mean, Carrie with a K can, even if they send Rayleigh to exile, she can send somebody out too and get the numbers back in her favor. So there are so many advantages out there right now that can wreak some havoc.
I actually have a quick question about the banishment advantage. Can she banish herself?
She cannot banish herself.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I actually think, for what it's worth, I think Alex wins on his tribe. And I think he doesn't send either Elizabeth or Dot. I think he's going to be all like, time to send a cleaner, to take a shot at a cleaner. And so I think he sends out a cleaner, so hoping that Dot, Elizabeth, and Carrie will work together. Immunity could obviously change how he thinks or whatever. And then Dot might actually be like haha, you thought you were getting a cleaner out, but turns out I'm gonna flip. That could definitely happen.
There's so
Well,
many variables. So many
Yeah.
variables right now.
if the next 2 episodes are as big a shit show as Nick is hinting that they might be, then I'm sure one of these scenarios is probably going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Nisha
Somebody
comes
said
back from the grave and wins. I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out there. Edge of Extinction surprise twist.
One time, Nisha has been viewing every chat that you've had since she's been eliminated. Twist of the year. Let's go.
Well, any last words?
I'm excited as
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, keep the drama going. I mean, this is cold.
Editing's really good too. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Show's
it's
been
fun.
great.
Yeah.
Come a long
looked
way from the first season.
Oh,
I didn't know who was going to get
absolutely.
voted off. I had a guess, but
Yeah.
I thought it could be one of 3 people going into this vote legitimately. And I was just like, whoa, so just good stuff, y'all. Everyone,
Yeah,
keep it going.
yeah.
As
Hey, if
always,
this is airing on election day,
Yeah.
I don't know. Vote if it's still open when this airs. I don't know how that works.
maybe California and Hawaii.
We
Sure.
can make predictions on who everyone's going to vote for.
In the
Well, we
game.
already got this.
In the game or the election?
The players. Never mind.
No.
That's up to you all.
Then we'll
Not do
follow
a
up with the
political
reunion.
political podcast.
All right.
You're opening the door to the South doesn't believe in science. I'm just letting you going down that rabbit hole.
Hey, I hope you know what you're asking for.